Well, you can just tell as this series has gone along how more comfortable the Oilers have gotten. You think Draisaitl, McDavid, Klingberg, Wallman, all were injured down the stretch. It just took them a few games to get going.
Fiala centers. Here's Byfield. Score! What a start for the Kings in Game 6.
And for the Kings, this is a player that needed to get going. They do a nice job breaking out of their zone. Good support there from Kevin Fiala. He just puts this to space. And look at the hands of Quinton Byfield. He's coming down the middle of the ice with a ton of speed. He's got some pressure from behind and has the presence of mind to take Pickard one way.
Trent Frederick possesses through center. Fired one off rink wide. Henrique darting through. Here is Brown. Back to Henrique. Frederick out in front. Got stumped. Brown dragging on the back pedal. With the shot. Score!
Kemper was making save after save as the Oilers do a good job just pushing the Kings back net fronts. Everyone's going down, try to be a goaltender. Everyone's playing street hockey out there. And look at this puck. It bounces off a few players before it ends up in the back of the net. Clark is there. Henrique is there. And that's a big goal from a depth line from the Oilers. They had some depth scoring in game number 5. They get it here early in game number 6. Looks like it's going to go off Henrique in front.
Edmonton has to earn everything, and if they do just that, they will likely earn a Game 7 opportunity.
Yeah, Leah, that was the big message from Jim Hiller when we chatted with him pregame. Him, of course, knowing the stakes of tonight. Clark with a shot. Score! An immediate answer. And it's Brant Clark, the defenseman, putting the Kings back in front.
Against for the first Oilers goal, doesn't box out Adam Henrique. So what do you have to do to get more ice time, to be a good teammate? You have to respond from a mistake, and look at Brant Clark, just stays wide. He gets lost in the coverage against the Oilers. Everyone's looking to the right, and he comes down this side and just puts this over the blocker of Calvin Pickard. What a response.
Inside of 40 seconds remaining on this Oilers power play. Leon Draisaitl tucked it back for Bouchard along the blue line for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Pressured by Doughty. Hyman in behind. Trying to dance away from Edmondson. McDavid seam shot. Score! Ryan Nugent-Hopkins tied at 2. And this is madness.
And there it is, the first point for Connor McDavid on the power play in this series. They bring it down low. Hyman does a nice job shielding this puck, gets it to McDavid, and the seam opens up as both defenders come down to Zach Hyman, and that leaves that cross-ice seam. Perfect pass from McDavid, and an even better shot from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And the depth scoring continues, right, for the Oilers, so important.
She's Cassie Campbell-Pascal. I'm Mike Monaco. Leah Hextall is at ice level, and our entire crew behind the scenes. Brett Kulak shoveled in. Here's Victor Arvidsson. Backhand stopped by Kemper. Anderson stepped in front. McDavid lifted the stick. Anderson lost the stick. In front, McDavid stopped with the puck loose to the left of Kemper. After Game 5 in this series a couple of days ago, said he didn't remember the last time they played a game as good as the one they did on Tuesday. Redirect score! Zach Hyman got a piece of it on the shot from Darnell Nurse, and Edmonton leads.
And that's what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins does. He gets a little bit of help there from Kane, but watch, Hyman just gets his stick free. He doesn't even necessarily see this shot coming as he's battling Edmondson. And you can see a little tap there. He just gets...
Wallman drops for Draisaitl, can't connect on the turn. 2-on-0. Warren Fogle with the shot stopped by Calvin Pickard.
You know, I talked to Chris Knobloch earlier in the season, and he told me, he goes, it's easier for me to manage the bench when they're together, and it allows him to give roles to other players. And that Hits the post.
Flings around. Wallman a drive with Nugent Hopkins parked in front. Bounces out for Phil Deneau. 2-on-1 with Trevor Moore. Deneau shot saved. Made by Pickard. Doughty holds on to it. Doughty threw it on net again. Stayed patient with it. Now the Oilers off to the races. On the entry, a drop. Janmark let it go. Nurse, a shot. Score! The lead is 2.
Darnell Nurse, who's had just a solid game, but watch this play up ice. Good speed to the neutral zone by Arvidsson. It goes from one side to the other, but watch that play from Janmark. He lets that go between his legs. He recognizes Nurse as the fourth guy up on the tack, and he has a ton of time to pick his spot here. The back check for the LA Kings just too late.
Shuttled for Kempe. Net front. Trying to tap one home with Kopitar. Cutting to the right of Pickard. This one to the line, gloved out by Brown, charging ahead with Henrique. Brown moving in, centered toward Henrique, score!
Give a ton of credit here to Calvin Pickard. You got to think about the saves that he's made in this second period. One just prior to this play, again, an odd man rush created by the Edmonton Oilers. 2 defensemen go to 1. Trent Frederick coming up late on the play. He's the third man high. Kempe's there, but doesn't pick up the stick. And the depth of the Edmonton Oilers with the 2 latest goals as Chris Knobloch continues to throw out all 4 lines, and it's making a difference.
So Nurse at 14:59 from Podkolzin and Janmark, and then Frederick at 16:35 from Brown and Kulak. Hellenius drops. Here's Fiala, centered, score! Jordan Spence on the one-timer with a much-needed answer for the Kings.
He's been getting in on the forecheck. He's been creating chances for the LA Kings, and just a turnover through the neutral zone by Darnell Nurse. And quick puck movement up the ice leads to a 4-on-2, but it's Hellenius who leads that rush. And it's Jordan Spence, another guy that hasn't had a ton of ice time, that finishes that one.
Vogel, speedy, darting in behind. Banks one out. Here's Moore. Doughty, one-timer, tip from Deneau, handled by Pickard, and out to the boards. Byfield, around for Fiala. Kopitar, Kempe, back to Kopitar. With space, a shot, wanted a tip. Clark charging hard. Pickard sprawled out, and a whistle as the Oilers kept it out.
And everyone's looking at the Jumbotron, and just watch the second effort here, the right pad. And he gets it anchored on the post as well, and somehow this puck stays out. You can see it's underneath the left arm of Pickard, and then comes outside the blue paint. Let's take another look from the overhead.
Wallman bangs it up the boards. Moore. Wallman swats at it. Puck settles. Final minute. Doughty a drive. Score! Doughty hammered one toward the net. Kopitar might have got a piece of that, and it's a 1-goal game with 53 seconds to go in the third.
Drew Doughty's been incredible. 27-10. I think Kopitar's going to get a piece of this here, the high tip. And it's a battle in the corner. It goes back to Doughty, and yeah, there's no question about it. It's Kopitar. It goes off his shin pad right there and changes direction on Calvin Pickard. And 53 seconds left. There is a ton of time here for LA.
Kuzmenko with it, looking for Kempe. Stripped to the puck, lobbed ahead. 10 seconds to go. Doughty hammers one up ice. Blocked by Brown. Brown scores! Edmonton will move on!
Lifts the stick of Darnell Nurse. And as Doughty just tries to put it up ice, he puts this one away for the Oilers.
The Oilers take down the Kings again. This time in 6 in the first round.